everyone. Hello, Prague. How are we doing? Doing great? Yeah. All right. Well, you heard it from Michael. I guess that the only thing better than Bitcoin is more Bitcoin. And Bitcoin Treasury companies can provide more Bitcoin. So today, I wanted to share with you the power for a publicly listed company in Europe to adopt the playbook of Michael Saylor. And the playbook is extremely simple. It is to see that the world is adopting Bitcoin and to leverage the elasticity of capital markets to acquire the most inelastic asset on Earth, which is Bitcoin. And the Blockchain Group is Europe's first and largest Bitcoin treasury company, listed on Euronext Growth Paris under ticker ALTBG. I wanted to tell you the story of how we were able to maximize the number of Bitcoin per share, which is what we believe is the most important metric in the financial world today. In about 6 months, we were able to increase the number of Bitcoin per share by more than 10x, which means that effectively, as a Bitcoin treasury company, we are able to buy more Bitcoin for our shareholders on a daily basis. And so the core value proposition is actually to be able to outperform Bitcoin on the long term, but by being purely based on Bitcoin. So over the last 8 months, we were able to generate 3,000% performance, while Bitcoin is up 42%. And that is due to our full focus on maximizing the number of Bitcoin per share. The playbook is extremely simple. It is to raise capital, to accumulate Bitcoin, and to hold it forever, never sell it, never lose it, and in this way to accumulate as much Bitcoin as possible, as fast as possible, and in the most accretive way as possible. And by doing so, we are really building the foundations of a long-term company built on a Bitcoin standard. And if you look at the price of the share, but priced in sats, not in euro, because fiat currencies are going to zero, because there is no limit to the number of fiat currency that you can print, well, the share price has gone from 230 sats to 5,000 plus sats. And that is the power of adopting Bitcoin as the core value and the core standard of value for the company on the public market. So if you compare at the traditional financial markets, what you look is that basically any other type of asset class that is not related to Bitcoin looks like a stable coin that is going to zero. So effectively, as an individual, as a family, as a business, as a publicly listed business, as a government, the best idea, as Michael says, is to adopt Bitcoin. And when you adopt Bitcoin, you are able to generate financial returns for your shareholders that are completely different from traditional markets. And effectively, we are just getting started. We have leveraged equity in private placement. We have leveraged Bitcoin Convertible Bonds, the first issuance of completely BTC-denominated financial instrument. We completely skipped fiat. And share subscription warrants, which allowed us to make all of our shareholders participate into the Bitcoin Treasury Company strategy. And more recently, we have partnered with 2 billion asset manager Tobam, leading the way in Bitcoin since 2017 in France, to create an ATM-type structure in France, which was the first one to acquire Bitcoin over in Europe. And that way, we were able to continuously start to acquire Bitcoin on a more regular basis, cumulated with our BTC-denominated convertible bonds. And the growth that we have seen is not even starting with public offerings that we have been authorized to do, but not started yet, and not even leveraging fiat convertible bonds so far. So we have obtained recently capital raising authorization of more than 10 billion euros to accelerate further. And that is based on the fact that over the first 5 months of the strategy, we have been able to raise 50 million euros. And then in 2 months, we have been able to raise 100 more million euros. And of course, we want to have the full capacity to grow the Bitcoin per share in a way that is not seen before. So the BTC Convertible Bonds. It is a form of convertible bond that is subscribed directly in Bitcoin through an SPV in Luxembourg, which allows the investor to effectively have the arbitrage between Bitcoin and the Bitcoin Treasury Company. It is the only product in the market that allows a Bitcoin maximalist to get a Bitcoin exposure over 5 years, and if it works, being able to have a free call option on the stock of the Bitcoin Treasury Company. And we have been honored to have Adam Back, to have Fulgur Ventures, to have Tobam, UTXO Management, and Ludovic Chauchin-Laurent join the Bitcoin-denominated convertible bonds and launch this innovation that allow us, as a Bitcoin treasury company, to have a nuclear reactor to increase the Bitcoin per share and to develop what we call Bitcoin treasury as a service. Effectively, we can allow any type of private companies in the world, family offices, sovereign wealth funds, to get a Bitcoin exposure into a Bitcoin treasury company with the possibility to convert if we are able to perform into the Bitcoin treasury company stock. And we raised about 100 million euros out of Luxembourg with this instrument. We also raised about 30 million euros with equity in private placement at conditions close to at the market, and with premiums to about 6x, 8x to the Bitcoin net asset value, being extremely accretive. That has allowed us to increase our Bitcoin stack, the Bitcoin on the balance sheet, by 40x year to date, plus 4,000% since December, plus 100% since March, and plus 100% again since May in 1 month. So if you compare that with the market cap that we had before launching the strategy, which was 15 million euros, well, we have now 150 million euros of Bitcoin on the balance sheet. And so that's a 10x increase compared with the market cap at the beginning and the number of Bitcoin on the balance sheet. And since then, we are the #1 stock performance in France, the #1 stock performer in Europe, and we are the most interesting stock in France in the forums of investors. So we are extremely excited about the future. But that is only possible because of a very specific focus that we have. And this focus that we have is to completely focus on Bitcoin per share increase over time. That is my full focus every day. I wake up BTC Yield, I work all the day BTC Yield, I dream BTC Yield. That is my only function in the company. And that is why I focus every day on. And what we were able to do is to generate a 1,000% increase of Bitcoin per fully diluted share year to date. So I will give you a very simple example. In March, we had about, in December, we had about 40 Bitcoin on the balance sheet on one side and 100 million shares. And in March, we were able to increase the number of Bitcoin by 15x towards 620 Bitcoin, while we increased the number of shares by only 2x. And that allowed us to generate in one single operation 700% BTC yield. And that's what you can see in this chart is the massive change in March, where we completely converted the premium that we had between the market cap and the net asset value of the Bitcoin into net asset value of Bitcoin for our shareholders. So what this means is we are able for our shareholders to cover the premium that exists in the market in net asset value in about 4 to 5 months, where the industry oscillates between 6 to 16 months. And so, of course, it's easier when you are smaller and when you start with a lower basis. But we believe that the combination of the ATM type structure with the BTC convertible bond, with the fact that we are not even yet fully accessible in the US market, and with the fact that we have not even yet launched the public offering, provides a very strong possibility for the future. Put it in another way, what we are able to generate for our shareholders historically is a 1.5% BTC yield daily. Let me repeat that. 1.5% BTC yield on a daily basis. Imagine that in a traditional finance fashion, While when I was working with half of the corporate treasurers in France 5 years ago, the corporate finance was to put all of the cash into monetary funds that yielded like 2% or even negative interest rates on a yearly basis. And now you are able to generate accretion for your shareholders on a Bitcoin standard by 1.5% on a daily basis. And that's extremely, of course, accretive for shareholders that are focused on the long term. Again, when you look at a Bitcoin Treasury Company, you can feel like it feels like a casino because the stock goes up by 3,000%. But what you have to do is to take a step back and look at the long term. What is the team doing? What is the team focused on? Is the company really building solid foundations for the future? And is the company able to materialize the premium of the company into net asset value of Bitcoin? And as soon as you are able to cover the premium, then it's full Bitcoin per share increase over time, which means that I work for you every day to buy you more Bitcoin. And so put that in another way, it means that if you have a 10x premium on the market, which is the difference between the market cap and the net asset value of the Bitcoin, we are able to burn and to transfer into net asset value of Bitcoin every month 1.87 units of premium every month. So that means that if we have a 10x premium, we are able to about cover that premium in about 5 months. So we have published ambitious goals for the future. We believe that Bitcoin is going to be the global reserve of value in the world, and we are preparing for it. We are preparing for a world where there is Bitcoin treasury companies that leverage capital markets to issue new financial instruments and provide this exposure to Bitcoin to investors in a way that is the best risk-minimized way to outperform Bitcoin. So we ambition to acquire as much as 1% of the total BTC supply over the next 8 years, which would mean about 200K Bitcoin by 2033, 35. And if Bitcoin was to reach about 1 million euro or dollar by the next 8 to 10 years, that would mean that we could become Europe's largest publicly traded corporation. Thank you very much all, and I will be available for any questions. Thank you.
Secure your BTC Prague 2026 ticket at the lowest possible price now.